The planet Virelia burned under twin suns, its sky painted in shades of orange and red. Smoke rose from the cities torn apart by years of war between humans and the Elorians, an alien species known for their discipline and fierce combat skills. Captain Alex Mercer led his reconnaissance team through the ruins of what had once been a bustling trade city. Every step was dangerous. Buildings could collapse at any moment, and Elorian patrols could appear without warning. Alex, tall and strong, had seen more battles than most soldiers could imagine. His team trusted him completely. He had a calmness in the chaos, a skill that kept his men alive. "Stay close and keep your eyes sharp," he whispered, scanning the streets. His voice was steady, but inside, he felt the weight of the mission. They were here to gather intelligence about Elorian troop movements. But sometimes intelligence missions turned into something far more dangerous. As they moved through the debris, a soft cry echoed from a nearby alley. The team froze. The sound was small, almost childlike, yet it stood out amid the destruction. Alex signaled for silence and carefully moved toward the noise. There, huddled behind a broken wall, was a little girl with silvery hair and wide, terrified eyes. She looked no older than 8. Her small body shook as she clutched a broken doll. "She's alone," whispered one of Alex's soldiers. "What do we do?" Alex's eyes narrowed. He knew the rules. Rescuing an enemy civilian, especially a child, could be considered treasonous by some commanders. But the moment he looked at her frightened face, he knew he couldn't leave her. "We help her," he said firmly. "No one deserves this." The girl flinched as Alex approached, but his voice was calm. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." Her eyes searched his, and after a tense moment, she nodded slightly. Alex crouched down to her level and held out his hand. "Come with me. You're safe now." The rescue was not simple. Almost immediately, a Elorian patrol rounded the corner. They were fast, tall, and armed with plasma rifles. Alex grabbed the girl and ran, weaving through narrow alleys, jumping over rubble and dodging energy blasts. The soldiers fired at them, but Alex had trained for moments like this. He used the shadows, the broken buildings, anything to stay out of sight. "Keep moving," he shouted, sprinting as the little girl stumbled. She cried out in fear, but Alex scooped her up without slowing down. His soldiers followed, providing cover fire when necessary. Each second felt like a lifetime. Alex's heart pounded, but he kept a steady rhythm, knowing panic could mean death. Finally, they reached the entrance of a hidden cave network beneath the city. The entrance was small, almost invisible, but Alex knew of it from old maps collected by scouts. He led the girl inside and crouched behind a pile of rocks. His soldiers quickly secured the area. The girl, exhausted and trembling, clung to Alex. "I'm Leora," she whispered, her voice small but clear. Alex smiled gently. "I'm Alex. You're safe now, Leora. We're going to take care of you." He checked her for injuries. A few scratches, nothing serious. His med kit was limited, but enough to clean the wounds. He wrapped a small bandage around her arm, trying to make her feel comfortable. "There we go. All better." Leora looked at him with wide eyes. "You saved me?" "Yes," Alex said simply. "No one deserves to be left alone in a place like this. I couldn't leave you behind." For the first time, Leora smiled faintly. It was small, but Alex felt a warmth spread in his chest. Amid all the war and destruction, this small act of kindness felt like a victory. Hours passed. Outside, the city was alive with distant gunfire and explosions. Inside the cave, Alex tried to make a safe space for Leora. He used blankets his team carried and created a small corner where she could rest. His soldiers kept watch at the entrance, taking turns to ensure no one could sneak in. As they sat in the dim light, Alex studied the girl more closely. She wasn't like other children he had seen. Her eyes held a sharp intelligence, and she seemed to understand things far beyond her age. She asked questions about his team, the weapons, and even the strategies the Elorians might use. Alex realized she could be very useful, not just as a child in need, but as someone who might help bridge understanding between their species in the future. Yet danger was never far. The Elorian commander, Silara, had been informed of a human seen near the city with her daughter. Silara was a legend among her people, feared and respected for her skill in battle and her strict command over her forces. When she learned that someone had saved her child, a storm of conflicting emotions arose inside her. She was furious that a human had interfered in what she considered her domain, but she was also intrigued. Meanwhile, Alex's team discussed their next move. "We can't stay here forever," said Sergeant Daniel. "Ilorians will track us if they suspect the girl is here." Alex nodded. "We need a plan. We move at night. The city's shadows are our advantage. Leora will stay close. We'll make it to the extraction point near the river. That's our safest route out." Night fell, casting long shadows over the ruined city. Alex and his team moved silently with Leora in the middle. Her small hands gripped his arm tightly, and Alex whispered words of encouragement. "Almost there, Leora. You're doing great." They passed abandoned buildings and collapsed streets, careful to avoid patrols. At one point, a squad of Ilorians appeared, patrolling the area where the extraction point should have been. Alex quickly hid Leora behind a fallen wall and signaled his soldiers. They waited, tense and silent, until the Ilorians passed. Finally, after hours of careful movement, they reached a small river that cut through the city. Boats had been left along its banks from earlier evacuations. Alex guided Leora into one, his hands steady despite exhaustion. His soldiers followed. As they floated down the river, the sounds of war faded behind them. For a brief moment, there was silence. Leora leaned against Alex, her eyes closing as sleep took her. Alex looked down at her small, peaceful face and made a silent promise. "I'll keep you safe, no matter what." Unknown to Alex, Solara had tracked them from a distance. She watched as the human carried her daughter to safety. Her mind raced. How could someone from the enemy side show such courage, such selflessness? It was impossible to ignore. The first part ends with Solara silently observing them from a ridge above the river. She clenched her fists, torn between anger and admiration. "This human, he is not like the others," she whispered to herself. The wind carried her words away, but the promise of a confrontation or an unlikely bond hung heavy in the air. Alex, unaware of the eyes upon him, steered the boat toward the next safe point. Leora slept soundly, and for the first time in days, Alex allowed himself to breathe. He had saved her, and somehow he sensed that this small act of courage would change the course of not only their lives but perhaps the war itself. The river carried Alex, Leora, and his small team further away from the burning city. The twin suns had set and darkness covered the landscape. For the first time in days, Alex allowed himself a moment to relax. Though he knew the danger was far from over, Leora slept peacefully against his chest, her small hand curled around his fingers. "We're not out of this yet," Sergeant Daniel reminded him quietly. "Ilorians are fast. They'll track us." Alex nodded, his eyes scanning the dark riverbanks. "I know, but I won't let anything happen to her. No one will." Unknown to Alex, Solara followed silently, using the shadows and her incredible agility to stay hidden. From a distance, she watched as the human moved carefully, protecting her daughter. Anger warred with curiosity in her mind. He had saved her child. A Lorian would never do that for a human, she thought. And yet, here was a human who risked his life without hesitation. Solara's thoughts wandered as she recalled her daughter's terrified face. The child had lost everything, yet the human had given her hope. Solara frowned. "How can someone I consider an enemy show such courage?" she murmured. Hours passed, and they reached a secluded cave system that Alex had scouted earlier. It was safer here, hidden from the city and patrols. He led Leora inside and set up a small resting area. His soldiers kept watch outside, ensuring no surprise attacks. Leora woke briefly, blinking at the dim light. "Where are we?" she whispered. "You're safe now," Alex reassured her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "We're hiding until morning. No one will hurt you here." She nodded and snuggled closer to him. Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. She reminded him why he fought. Not for medals, not for orders, but for moments like this. For protecting innocent lives in a universe filled with war. The next morning, Solara made her move. She approached cautiously, keeping hidden until she could see them clearly. Her hand rested on the hilt of her weapon, but she did not attack. She watched Alex, noticing how he cared for her daughter, how he spoke gently, and how he risked everything without a second thought. After a long moment, she stepped out into the open, revealing herself. Alex froze, his hand instinctively moving toward his weapon. Leora stirred, sensing the tension. "Who are you?" Alex asked, his voice calm but wary. "I am Solara," she said, her voice firm and commanding. "And that child is mine." Alex stood slowly, holding Leora protectively. "I know who she is. I'm Alex. I saved her because it was the right thing to do. I won't let her come to harm." Solara studied him, her sharp eyes searching his face. There was no fear, no hesitation, only honesty and determination. A human with courage and compassion, she murmured almost to herself. This is unusual. Alex noticed her hesitation. You don't have to fight me, he said. We're not here to attack. We're here to protect her. Solara's expression softened slightly. She had expected a human to be ruthless, selfish, and calculating, but Alex was different. He fought with honor, protected those who couldn't protect themselves, and showed empathy even to an enemy's child. I must admit, she said carefully, I did not expect you to act this way. And I did not expect to see such a capable and strong mother protecting her child, Alex replied respectfully. I can see why she survives. A tense silence followed. Then Leora spoke, her small voice cutting through the quiet. Mother, he saved me. He didn't just fight for himself. Solara's eyes softened as she looked at her daughter. The child's words were simple, but they carried the weight of truth. Alex had not acted out of duty or obligation. He had acted out of humanity. For the next few hours, they spoke cautiously. Alex explained the human perspective, the reasons for their actions and the possibility of peace. Solara in turn shared her fears, the losses she had suffered and her distrust of humans. Yet throughout the conversation, there was an unspoken understanding forming. They were from different worlds, but both valued life, loyalty, and courage. Suddenly, alarms sounded from the distance. A rogue Elorian faction, loyal neither to Solara nor the humans, had discovered their location and moved to reclaim Leora. Alex sprang into action. Get ready, he ordered his team. We fight together. Protect the child at all costs. Solara's eyes narrowed. She drew her weapon, moving with precision and strength. Together, humans and Elorians prepared to defend against the attackers. The clash was intense. Energy blasts lit the dark cave. Sparks flew from collapsing rock and the roar of battle filled the air. Alex and Solara fought side by side, their movements synchronized despite barely knowing each other. He covered her flank, she protected Leora, and together they formed an unbreakable team. The rogue faction, though strong, was no match for their combined skill. Slowly, the attackers were driven back, retreating into the shadows. When the dust settled, Alex checked on Leora. She was unharmed, her wide eyes filled with awe and relief. Solara stood beside him, breathing heavily but smiling faintly. You fought well, she said, her voice soft but filled with respect. Better than I expected. Alex shrugged modestly. I did what I had to do. She's just a child. She didn't deserve to be caught in this war. Solara studied him for a long moment. The anger she had felt earlier was gone, replaced with a complicated mix of admiration and something else. She realized that Alex was not just brave. He was honorable, intelligent, and kind in ways few Elorians could understand. Later that evening, Solara approached him privately. The moonlight reflected off her armor, highlighting her striking features. Alex, she began, you have shown qualities that few Elorians possess, or expect from humans. Alex looked at her, curious. I just did what anyone should do. Protect the innocent. She smiled faintly, her eyes softening. That may be so, but courage and loyalty are rare. You've earned my respect, and something more. Alex tilted his head, sensing the significance of her words. Solara continued, stepping closer. In Elorian culture, bravery and protection of family are honored above all else. By saving my daughter, you have not only shown courage, you have proven your worth. I claim you as my mate. Alex blinked in surprise. He had expected respect, perhaps friendship, but this was something entirely different. Solara's claim was not just symbolic. It was a recognition of the man he was, a bond forged through bravery, trust, and compassion. He felt a mix of emotions, honor, confusion, and a quiet joy. He had never imagined that saving a child could lead to such a profound connection. I accept, he said finally, understanding the depth of her words. I will stand by you and your daughter. Leora's eyes lit up and she ran to Solara's side. You saved me. And now we're together? She asked excitedly. Solara knelt and embraced her daughter. Yes, little one. He will protect us just as he promised. The three of them, Alex, Solara, and Leora, stood together under the twin moons of Virelia, a symbol of hope in a world scarred by war. Humanity had shown its strength not through conquest or power, but through courage, compassion, and honor. Alex looked at Sylara, and she looked back at him. There were battles still to fight, dangers still to face, but for the first time they had a chance to bridge the gap between their worlds. Together they would protect each other, their child, and perhaps even the future of their people. The story ends with the three walking toward the horizon, side by side. The war might rage on, but a human's courage had sparked a bond that even the fiercest enemies could not break. And in that moment, Alex realized that heroism was not just about survival. It was about love, trust, and the choice to do what is right, no matter the cost.